Take it aside.
This is a picture from Gaza. This is an actual painting from Gaza. I got this through an NGO, a non-governmental organization.
You got it from an NGO?
Yeah, it's an actual painting by a young woman in Gaza who's probably a refugee and certainly traumatized right now.
Yeah. Tell me what brings you out here today.
What brings me out here is we have to do something about all this money going to kill people. I mean, we're a good country, but we're doing some really, really bad things. And the bad things we're doing is going around the world shooting people, and it's our tax dollars that is doing this. And we have to protest. Let's use our money for good. We have climate change. We have people starving. We have millions of refugees. Let's put our tax dollars as something good instead of supporting all these corrupt dictatorships that just go out and bomb their people. Look at Sudan. Sudan is a terrible crisis. We got to use our money to help people, not use our money to kill people.
So what do you think is the solution? Like, if you look at not pay their income tax?
As a start, to not pay as a start. I think we just have to get together in community groups and faith communities and civic groups and just start really reading more and learning more and doing something. And these kind of demonstrations are a great start. It's one thing we can do to start this.
It seems like more people are being aware of where the tax money is going because, especially when we're seeing, the funding that's going to Israel to the destruction in Gaza.
Yeah, I think
the genocide. People are funding that.
Yeah, and suddenly that's become an important news story. We didn't really think about it before.
Right.
And now we're thinking about it. So every step counts. Every committee meeting, go to a committee meeting. Join your neighbors, get started, do something, and then it builds. And it gets together, and then it becomes a movement. So we got to start where we are, meet some neighbors, get together with a group, and start at it. And just start where you are.
And 134 people. You don't know anything. I live there. And they don't. We are the ones that are trying to negotiate a ceasefire. And they keep rejecting the ceasefire. Idiots. Shame on you! Shame on you! Women are being raped in Gaza. You go to Gaza. You take a one-way ticket to Gaza.
They'll throw you all off. They'll throw you all off.
I'm sorry. We're the peaceful ones, We're the peaceful ones. Down by the riverside, for war no more. I ain't gonna pay for war no more. I ain't gonna pay for war no more.
I'm Ruth Ben. I'm active with New York City War Resisters League and also a longtime war tax resistor. So actually, we're pretty much out here every year on tax day to remind people where their tax money is going, what a huge amount is going to the military, that funds that supplies these wars around the world, and that it's time to take that money from the Pentagon and start giving it to the places where we need it here. Healthcare, housing, starvation around the world, all these other things that we could be doing with our money that are so much better. So we come here because the IRS is in this building in New York City and Manhattan and make our statement each time. So.
And what are some ways that people, what are some solutions? Should people not pay their income tax, or what can they do to kind of take back their power of economic?
Well, at least get out and be vocal about it. You don't have to refuse to pay, but that's kind of a stronger step for a lot of people. But for those of us who, when you work for peace for so long and you realize that your taxes are going to the Pentagon and funding what you don't want to fund what you're working against, then there comes a time when you kind of say, oh, I got to do something about this. So people could at least send a letter with their tax form saying, if they're paying, I'm paying under protest. I'm angry about where my money is going. Or refuse a small amount, even $5 or something, just to make a statement a little bit stronger. And yeah, it takes some research if somebody's going to decide to refuse to pay. The IRS has a lot of power to collect, but we think it's very empowering, actually. When you get into it, it's very empowering and worth doing. Yeah.
How much of our taxes go to military spending?
Oh, I think on our pie chart this year we have 47% or something like that, but we usually say a half because I'm sure we don't know about some of that money that goes.
Right.
That's going. You know, there's hidden money. CIA is active in so many countries stirring things up, so we don't quite know some of this black budget money, but at least half, which is way too much.
Yeah, way too much. Yeah, and there's so many, like you said, there's so many issues. Housing prices. People don't have clean water.
Yeah.
People are on the street.
So many things that could be solvable if some heads and money were put into it, but yeah, instead, so much is going into violence now, and I think when your country decides to fight, that's what a lot of people see is, oh, the way to respond is violently, is military, and it's just way beyond time to turn this around.
Right. And now, what do you think about the election coming up? You know, you have Trump or Joe Biden, who's supporting a genocide.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm very ambivalent, as many people are, about this particular election. I don't know what we can count on from elected people. I think we just have to stay out in the streets and do what we can. And you can't just count on politicians to make change. It has to come from below. So, yeah.
Right.
All the Democrats have gotten us into wars too. So it's not like a Republican and Democrat thing. It's both of the major parties, and we really need to see some huge change in this country.
50% of our tax dollars are going to the military spending. As a taxpayer, how does that make you feel?
It has made me feel very bad for many decades. And I think we have to recognize that as long ago as Eisenhower, he warned the American people about the industrial military complex, and believe me, we have ignored that warning. I'm here to be with like-minded people who feel the way I do, who are pro-peace, education, health, lives of children, food for children, health care for children. And it may not be effective, but we are making a statement which I hope other people hear, loud and clear.
Now, what do you think is the solution? Do you think people should just not pay their income tax and withhold it?
Well, they can withhold, if they wish, the part that goes to the military, but they have to prepare to have their bank account seized. So, yes, you can withhold it, but they're not going to do without it. But it just might take the powers that be a little more time to get it.
Right. And how long have you been out protesting this?
I'm a protester, so I would say that I first started to protest against anti-nukes in the 60s, followed by the Vietnam War, civil rights, the two Iraq wars, the war in Afghanistan, Women's March for Choice, you name it.
Yeah.
I love to be with like-minded people who are making their opinions known in a peaceful way.
Right. And are you concerned about this election year where, we have Trump who, we know how bad Trump is. And then you have Biden, who's actively funding and supporting Israel in this genocide.
There's probably a Latin word for that. Dilemma, I think, maybe. Yeah. The horns of a dilemma.
Right.
Yes, very concerned. At the same time, when I weigh my scales of justice, I'll take Trump because maybe we'll keep choice. And, you know, excuse me, I didn't mean that.
No, go
I
ahead.
said the wrong word. I'll pick Biden. That was a Freudian slip. Whatever you know. Anyway, I pick Biden just because of the potential of the damage that Trump could do in every other aspect of American life.
I'm a war tax resistor. I work for peace, so I don't pay for war. 50% of our income tax dollars goes for war. And if I work for peace, I'm not going to pay for war. So I say tear up that income tax return. You'll buy no bombs with what I earn. So I send the money instead to people who need the money. Feed the people, not the war machine. Right. We want our money spent on peace, not for war in the Middle East.
And what do you make of these politicians who continue their support and don't listen to the people? Do you think we actually live in a democracy?
We only live in a democracy if the people lead. If the people lead, the leaders will follow. Every progress, every step forward in the history of this country has been taken when people took to the streets, and the politicians jump on the bandwagon after they see which way the wind is blowing, and they try to take credit. But everything, abolition of slavery, the labor unions, women's suffrage, civil rights, it all happened because people took to the streets, and the politicians try to take credit for it. But it's the people who create the progress and create the good things in this country. And that's where democracy is. It's in the streets. And all the change is going to happen in the streets, not in the halls of Congress.
Yeah, my name is Ed Hedeman. I work with the New York City War Resisters League, which is in its 101st year of resisting war. We're out here on tax day, April 15th, to protest the enormous amount of military spending that the U.S. contributes to wars, particularly in Ukraine now, and to Israel for the destruction in Gaza, as well as still continuing wars in Afghanistan on a lower level, but Iraq, Yemen, Somalia. The U.S. has bases in something like, I think, 80 countries in the world, more than the rest of the world combined. And it's just 45% of tax dollars, income tax dollars, federal income tax dollars, goes to military spending, past, present, and future. And so we're here to protest it on this final day to file taxes and hope that people will just not protest to the government, but actually refuse to pay and give those tax dollars to organizations and people that really need it, rather than have it go to the Pentagon.
There's only one thing I want to know. Anthony?
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
What is so funny?
Hey, yeah!
He said,
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?